Bow. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Explain It. I am one of your hosts. My name is Cain, and to my left or right is Ingryd Hernandez, who decided to go up to one. Are you at a rental property? Are you at a fix and flip? Where are you right now?
I'm currently in Sedona in my new midterm rental.
Ooh, a midterm rental. Okay, cool. What is a midterm rental? We're gonna deviate for a second, but I'm curious. What is a midterm rental compared to like just renting out a property?
Yeah, officially a midterm rental is a property that you have to stay at it at 28 days or more. So short-term rental is less than 28 days, your tenants or your guests stay. And technically a midterm rental, they're not guests, they're tenants. So yeah.
Okay.
Usually 28 days to 6 months is generally the acceptable midterm range. And then from a insurance purpose, if you do get 6-month leases, those are still considered long-term rentals.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I just told everybody on YouTube or on Instagram to get their booties on YouTube, and my mom's on there, so I didn't use booty. But if you guys are on Instagram Live, jump on over here today. Oh, she said, "Hi, my bunny." My mom knows how to use technology. It's incredible. Guys, happy freaking holidays, Kwanzaa, Christmas, whatever the Jehovah's Witness don't celebrate, and whatever you're doing in life. I hope you guys have had a time to disconnect and recharge with your family and really get centered on what's important for you coming into the new year. Today, we're going to do a little recap on what happened for us in 2023, and then let's talk about how we can really get the most out of 2024. And, I have been, oh man, we got all kinds of people. Jeremy Davis, you got everybody on Instagram Live. It's good to see you guys. Come on to YouTube so we can see your questions. We'll pull you up on stage. We want to interact with you. If you notice, I know my mom knows this, but once she decided to have more kids, she wasn't able to give me enough attention. And ever since then, I've been craving for more people to notice me and talk to me. So I want to interact with everybody before the new year, and I want to help you guys get to doing whatever you want to do. Real estate, hanging out with Ingryd and I, taking us to Nobu. Somebody invited me to a Cardinals game. I'm a girly that loves to do stuff, and so is Ingryd. So if you guys are going to be in the Tampa area, just some housekeeping stuff. Tampa area on the 20th and 21st of January. Would love to go jump out of an airplane with you. You don't have to jump out of the airplane, but if you have your whole life insurance policy and you've hit it a year like Ingryd has, and you're allowed to jump out of a plane now, you're invited. And then just another housekeeping bit. Ingryd, what are we doing? Is it the second week of February?
It's the first week of February.
Oh, Super Bowl weekend? I don't know. Super Bowl is usually it might be. I don't know. Super Bowl is either the first or second weekend of February, but first or second weekend of February, if you guys are cool and you want to unlock the next level of your mind and get to getting, Ingryd and Marlon are going to be hosting a mastermind at the Mindset Manor. And I will just say, I've talked about this a few times with some people. That is actually my favorite mastermind I've been to. I've been to quite a few. I've done some Tony Robbins events, and I always feel this is just like, one thing about me, guys, you're going to realize I can't lie. And I'm pretty honest and I'm authentic about things. I hate being sold. I understand how sales works, and I hate being sold. And I hate it when people reach out to me and they're reaching out to you just because they want something from you. It's not just to see how you're doing. And I remember, there we go. Perfect. You got it. I'm going to pin it up on the screen so everybody can see it. That was the first mastermind that I went to that I didn't feel like I was being used for something. And it was really nice. I got to do a little reset and see how other people are being really successful in their businesses and what I can do, and how it is just coming back down to mindset and how I can excel to the next level. So one thing for me, talking about 2024 and talking about what worked for me in 23, and I have been going through a book about, so I just did this Tony Robbins event. It's called Date with Destiny, and understanding who you are and what you want so you can go attract that type of person and what's important to you. And Marlon and I have been talking about this quite a bit. And you cannot attract what you want if you don't know what you want. Okay. What are you going to, you're driving aimlessly? If you get in the car and tell your car to take you to Vegas from Houston, but you're over in New England, you're never going to make it to Vegas by those turn-by-turn directions. You have to know where you're starting. You have to be aware, and you have to have an end goal. And for me, the easiest thing for me is to go into, what do I hate doing? What do I not enjoy doing? Because our brains are so quick to go into the negative. So I just want to say, for for everybody on here, if you still don't even know what you want to do for 2024, if you're unaware of what's happening, it's okay. Why don't we just put something up on the board and you can correct and continue and you can add to it. But being around like-minded individuals, you get to, I think we might have maybe a room or two. We might just have one room open that you guys can even stay at the house with us during the mastermind. But you guys are welcome to attempt to join. I think there's only a few seats left. So Ingrid, do you have Marlon's? I can text him really quickly. Do you have his login or his page code for that? He might even be doing
so it's actually in my link tree. It's the very first link, but let me grab it really quick.
Yeah. Well, how about I show everybody how to do it really fast, and then they will know how to find it on their own too if they want to. So I will do it, Ingrid. I got you. Okay. So for everybody on here, you're going to go to Instagram. You're going to ignore Patrick Mahomes or that guy following. You're going to look up Ingryd Hernandez. You'll find her Instagram page here. If you're not already, so watch this. You're going to, when you see her page, and if it shows you it's follow or follow back, you're going to click follow, and now you're going to get everything. So that's the first step. Make sure you're following Ingryd. And then under here, under her incredible husband's name, if you guys have to list a house, Mark Hernandez is the guy to go with. But right here, you can click on Linktree. And then I'm going to share this tab instead. And then right here, register for the Mind Over Matter Mastermind. That's a lot of M's for my brain. And then you guys can jump in. Ooh, there's a whole video. Man, you guys got real fancy spancy. And I can already tell this is from Open Dispo. It's pretty cool. So if you guys are interested, you have the opportunity to jump in. It's 3 days, 2 nights. This will go through. Meals are provided. I will say this. Ingryd is the only reason that it was successful last time. The food was delicious. So if you guys are looking for a good meal, Ingryd sets it up. She's on full mom duty, but it's just a really cool opportunity to be surrounded by people that are doing more and getting you into the next level. So I think there's only a few seats left, but if you guys want to come and join us, I will be there. Ingryd will be there. It'll be a lot of fun, and I will drop the link in the side chat for you guys so you can grab it. I think I've mainly hammered home on all the housekeeping before we get started. The only other thing I want to say, guys, if you could share this with 3 people really quickly, grab the share link, share it out, and let's go over what we can do to get to your goals in 2024. Ingryd, do you have anything else in the housekeeping area that we need to talk about?
Well, just to clarify, Super Bowl is on the 11th, and this is the weekend before. So the good news is you won't miss out on your Super Bowl.
Cool. All right. So I think we've covered all of the housekeeping tips for you guys. Again, this is free. We do this every week. I'm not sure when we're going to have my sales coach in, but we'll have my sales coach in here in January. Our goal is to just take away the mystery, make sure that we're clearing the water so you can understand that it's not super deep. You guys can get started. I do have one last thing for housekeeping. I'm going to change the name of it. I was calling it 75 Soft. The last time we were on here, I'm going to reset it. I know, Ingryd, you're starting 75 Hard on January 1st.
Yep.
So if you want to join Ingryd and Mark Hernandez in 75 Hard on January 1st, you're more than welcome to. I know that I have an addictive personality, and I'll hyperfixate, and I'll be a very dull girl when I do 75 Hard. So I'm doing a variation of it. So I can still have healthier habits all the way through. But you're welcome to join us. I'll post that on my Instagram. I would love to have you guys in with me. We're going to do a little book club. We're going to read Compound Effect first. Then we're going to read Can't Hurt Me. And then Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Probably throw in some more books in there because the Compound Effect should take us like 3 days to get through. But the whole purpose of starting with that is just understanding like the squeaky wheel gets the deal. Being persistent, understanding that it's mundane, unsexy, but the most successful people do the boring, mundane stuff because nobody else can have the patience to persist through it. So if you're on here, you're in the right space. We want you guys to get the most out of this. I'd love to interact with you again. I didn't get enough attention as a child, so we want to bring you up on stage. But Ingryd, I'm curious, what were your goals for 2023, and did you hit all of them?
I did not hit all my goals for 2023, but many of what I accomplished, or I'll say what I wanted to finish out, I did do. So, for example, like a couple of deals that I had that were a little bit difficult to navigate. So much learned from that. When I originally started the year, I was like, I want 25 doors by the end of the year. So I'm ending with 11 doors from having 4 doors at the end of 22, and then additional 3 like I won't count them doors, but I'm helping other people with their properties. And I know every time I say this, and I get people saying, "Oh, are you a private money lender? Will you lend to me?" The answer is likely no. I'm pretty scrutinizing of who I will give money to. And so I have 3 deals with my personal cash, my retirement. So at the end of the day, ended up with 14 doors, but they're not mine. Those last 3 are really lens. So
Okay.
but yeah.
I have a question for you on that. So your goal
Mhm.
initially was to hit 25 doors. You're ending the year in 11. Would you see that as a failure? Uh-oh. Can you hear me?
Absolutely not. I
Absolutely
was
not. That's
actually
so great.
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, you froze for a second, so I didn't know
I
if you
can
heard me,
hear
but
you.
I agree. I hear you now. But I'm just I love that. Because the same my sales trainer said that he said, guys, if you shot for $2 million and you only made 800,000, would you see that as a failure? And a lot of people are like, yeah, I'd see that as a failure. No, guys, like you shoot for really, really almost unrealistic expectations, and if you don't hit it, you're still better than you were to get started with. And I was journaling the other day, and this is what I go to therapy, guys, and I'm going to talk about this in my little share, but the one thing my therapist, I've been seeing her for 3 years. Shout out to Shannon. If you ever watch this, she probably won't because of those boundaries. I always want my therapist to be my best friend. But one of the things she's like, look how far you've come since 2020. And I just for everybody watching this on Christmas Day, so 3 years ago, almost 3 years and 2 days ago, I had $15.75 in my bank account. And I'm telling you guys this because I got distracted by shiny objects. I wasn't keeping the main thing. And I would have, if you would have talked to me like, yeah, I'm such a failure, but we're being really tough on ourselves. And I love your perspective on how you think of things. And you have 11 properties, girl. So congratulations, way to go. That's pretty sick that you guys got 11 doors and you're always, you're about to get another flip listed. You're doing a lot of stuff with the hunts. It's been really
Mhm.
cool to watch you. So I'm gonna hand it back to you, but I just want to say I love that. That's the way you're thinking. It's not a failure. It's a great success. Way to go.
Yeah, I mean, that was my buy and hold goal. My goal
Mhm,
was also to get back into fixing and flipping if the market turned.
mhm.
And so to your point, yeah, like we're doing 3 right now. Um, and after coming out of 2 that were really tough. And so it was one of those where like, what did they teach me? How am I operating differently now that I know um after what's happened, like what am I incorporating into my processes so that I can make sure it's something I consider up front and I incorporate better into how I do business. But I think we did like I don't know, I think I did like 7 or 8 wholesale deals. So I actually didn't give myself a wholesale
Goal.
goal. That's why I'm saying like 2023 was not a failure because I was still very active and just focused on the task at hand right now. And I know some people operate in like, okay, I got to get to that big old target. Sometimes when you're in a headspace like I was earlier this year, that was too overwhelming. I was so overwhelmed by
Mhm.
the fact that I did feel like I failed when I was in the middle of feeling the failure, right? In the middle of knowing I had lost money.
Yeah.
So when that happens, it's kind of like I can only imagine depression, right? Where when things are so overwhelming, you then just focus on the task at hand in front of you. Brushing your
Yep.
teeth, a simple task, it's gotten done. You've now
Mhm.
succeeded in a task for the day. Making your bed, making lunch. Like you focus on the little tasks right in front of you so that you can continue with your momentum, even though it's not this big goal piece that you're maybe really inside wanting to chase after.
So, what do you think kept you from achieving all of your goals? Just kind of being overwhelmed and maybe stacking too much on you at the beginning of the year?
Well, in the beginning of the year, I didn't know I was gonna fail with my flips the way that I did. So I feel like I was optimistic about what the year was going to provide.
Mhm.
I also misread like people were like, "Oh, it's the year of multifamily," right? And it was one of those
Yep.
things where and it didn't actually come to fruition. What happened was a
Mhm.
lot of those soon to fail loans, I actually think a lot of lenders went back and renegotiated with some of the folks that were supposed to fail because they don't want another 2008 recession. So all those predictions that were supposed to come in 23, and I don't know if you read the newsletter called Morning Brew. There's all these predictions of how this was supposed to be like a huge land grab, especially for investors, because of how many failures were supposed to be stacked up, and they didn't happen. So the reality is, with big failures and big recessions and big economic downturns, that's where millionaires are made. And I was legitimately like thinking, okay, if that happens, I have to be ready. But it never really came. So I diverted my focus too much to multifamily at the beginning of this year, and then came back to single family when I was seeing I wasn't really progressing in it. So
I remember us last December, we talked with one of our mentors and they told us that. They're like, oh yeah, everything's going to explode this year. And I just remember being like, wow, like, I'm not ready for that. And one of my also favorite things about you is you're very optimistic. It's fun talking to you because you see things in a different light. And it's for everybody on here right now. If you don't have your campfire, if you guys don't know what a campfire is, it's always warm near the campfire. Campfire you want to sit at is fun, where you guys are going to do s'mores, all this stuff. The people that are doing what you want to do, find that campfire and get closer to them. The ones that are going to make you uncomfortable, the ones that are going to push you outside of your comfort zone, because you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around with the most. And Ingryd is one of those people for me. She is a go getter, and I love that about you. And that's really cool. Well, is there anything else you want to share before I go into mine?
It was just a big learning year. If anything, I think the biggest success I had in 23 was proving to myself I can stick with it, because I almost didn't, especially having felt that experience of losing so much money. You're like, wow, I didn't think I was going to stick to it, and I did. And so for that, I'm proud of myself. And it also reinforced my relationship with my husband and I, like that I really can count on him. And I don't know if you've ever done this with a partner before, but you're like, what's the worst thing that can happen? Okay, we're going to have to sell our house. We have to go to an apartment, but then we get to start all over again. Like, we had that conversation, like if it had to get to that bad, like we could. And so knowing that you have that support and that kind of partner next to you, it reinvigorates you, and it makes you excited about, if you can get through that, then you're going to be able to get through anything. So that was sort of my reflection of 23. So how about you? Your goals?
I should say, Mark is your ride or die. I love the relationship Mark and Ingryd have. They're really good. I will say 2023 did not go as I had planned. I would say I was similar boat to you. I realized for me, I need to just keep my blinders on. And the way that my brain works, I have to continuously remind myself, because if I do not continuously remind myself, I will see a squirrel and I will follow the squirrel and chase it up the tree. I have to keep, what are my goals? Am I hitting them? I actually have alarms that go off on my phone at 8:45, 11:50, 3 o'clock every day to give me little reminders of, because there's times, I'm getting up around 4 o'clock in the morning and I want to hang out with everybody. I can't stay up super late. I have to keep my routine. That's when I thrive really well. Actually, I was talking to Marlon this morning, because we've also been prioritizing our sleep for everybody on here. I use the Aura Ring. I sleep with this thing. I know Marlon, you're not wearing your Whoop anymore, but I know Marlon wears his Whoop, and we were talking this morning as we were making breakfast, and he's like, man, I've just been having really vivid dreams lately. I don't know the last time I've been having dreams like this. And he's been getting, 8 hours, 9 hours of sleep every day, which is really important. One of the things I'm going to add on to the challenge I'm doing is getting a baseline of 8 hours of sleep. Like, no technology up to this time, be in bed, make sure you're getting rest, because you send me stuff. I'm always consuming things. My dad's mother had Alzheimer's. I don't want to get that when I'm older. They're saying how much sleep impacts everything and it helps you stay youthful. So I didn't hit everything because I was getting a little distracted at the beginning of the year. And I wanted to get 25 rentals as well. And then this is the first year that I went after door knocking really seriously. And it was crazy to learn everything, to be in the mix of it. And I actually, we talked last week about speaking with my attorney on one of the deals that I have. So a big year of growth and getting outside of my comfort zone and understanding, like, even more so, like, I thought I could do stuff on my own. I do really well when I have like an accountability or coach person. I do much better when people depend on me and I get that I'm just understanding how my brain works a bit more. The words of affirmation is key for me. And then when I did understanding how I learn as well was really good, because when I did the 75 soft over the summer, we're doing the same books. But when I read Can't Hurt Me, I always pick something new up from those books that I can implement. I like keeping it fresh in my mind. But I didn't stay consistent with my tracking. So I'd be consistent for a little bit, and then something would happen. There'd be a week where I'd be on the phone with attorneys, with title, and I wasn't able to go do my lead generation. So from that, I realized I have to expand my team. I brought on an integrator that's taken on all of the technology side, which has been great. We got all of our like systems, and we got about, I'd say 75% of our systems and processes in place. I'm going to be bringing on a team in 2024. So just realizing like I can do stuff as a lone and entrepreneur, but I can do a lot more when I'm delegating out, and I can grow faster with that and have more opportunities, and I can create more opportunities from that as well. So my biggest takeaway from 2023 is I said it at the beginning of the year, but I'm going to do it more in 24. No, my biggest takeaway is no. If it's not part of my things that I've written out that I want to accomplish, I'm going to say no. I'm going to communicate more. I'm going to, and this is actually a conversation I had with my sisters the other day. How were we brought up? I was brought up to just be polite and be respectful to like everybody. I actually was sharing with somebody. We went to like tea parties when I was little because I learned how to set the table, and it was always to not make other people feel uncomfortable. So I'd say yes to things to agree and keep the peace when like ultimately it's not something that I want to do. So in 24, if you guys want to hang out with me, you can't. It's not aligned. I won't do it. And it's just, I have to be super, super important. So making sure that I journal in the morning, I have that time to myself, and I set myself up for success the night before will be really big for me. I see a question over here really quickly, and I want to get to it. So Jennifer Burdick said, how does that work? I don't sleep much, trying to stay constantly getting everything done. So great question. For me, I have anxiety sometimes, which keeps me from going to sleep. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have too many things going on. So I keep a little like notepad next to my bed, but also I take magnesium. Another thing I did in 23, I focused on my health. I'm getting into it again, even more. I got my hormones tested because I realized I was really tired all the time. And I found out that my hormones were out of whack. And I was overproducing estrogen and stuff. So you should go get your blood work done and check out and see what you need. Get the vitamins that you need. Make sure that you're eating stuff. I'm going to go on a paleo diet for my challenge. Making sure you're doing stuff that's going to be helpful for you. So I would say and it's intentionality. Like another thing, I think I don't even know if word no should be the word for me in 24. I think it should be intentional. And I've done that in 23, but I want to be even more intentional because I want to be present when I'm with you. Because sometimes, like, for example, Ingryd, like when I'm interacting with people before our podcast, I'm like, hey, I'm talking to Marlon. I have to get out of this conversation because I have to go get on this podcast with Ingryd. Whereas if I would go through and time block and set an alarm at 3:50, 3:50 because we start at 4. Oh, sorry, I have to end this conversation. My alarm went off. I have to give myself 10 minutes before the podcast starts. I want to make sure I have my lighting correct. Maybe eventually I'll get the iPad set up so that we can do things. So for anybody listening, take what you like out of this, apply it into your life. But I know the way that my brain works. I'm learning more about myself. I'm 31, understanding a lot of stuff about me, and making more money so I can have a larger impact. But I hope that is helpful for everybody. So 23, learned that I have to be more focused and I have to write things down. That's just the way my brain works. And I do a lot of verbally processing. I've become more aware of that. And 24, I'm still shooting for 25 rentals. I've been wholesaling, but I want to get that fix and flip with you. We'll hear about that hopefully by the end of this week, see what's happening. That might draw out a little bit further. I want to, and then anybody on here, if you guys have not played Cash Flow by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, there's a free version online. Get those big chunks of change. I want to get the fix and flip. I want to get that big surplus of cash so I can go have more opportunities. I was actually driving for deals earlier when I went and door knocked a few houses. I'm like, ooh, this one looks kind of crusty. They might need some help. So adding more things into the war chest to hit up and just constantly be looking for opportunities. And one thing I actually really appreciate about you, Ingryd, I know I've been talking for what feels like 10 minutes straight now. Every time I get on Instagram, on the messages section, when you can interact with people, you're constantly asking for deals. So this is a shameless plug right now for everybody on here. Write this down. Write it down. Ask for more deals. So with that being said, Ingryd and I are looking for any type of property you guys have in Maricopa County, except for Buckeye. I don't want to go out there. Ingryd might. But we want stuff in Maricopa County. And we want 3-bedroom, 2 baths. We'll look a little bit smaller, but that's really what we want. If you find anything, we will walk you through the process. We are buying, we are fixing, flipping, we are keeping. The main thing is we just want the cash flow. We'll turn it into a midterm rental if it doesn't. If you guys would like a front row seat to seeing how things are done, and you have money that is making you 0.001% in the bank, and you'd like to get double-digit returns, we can talk about that elsewhere as well. But we want to include more people. So another goal I have for me in the coming year, I want to get 100 people their first deal in 24. So if you guys are down and you want to start doing deals, you want to do deals with people that have done deals before, holler at us. Just don't quit. I don't want to talk to whiners and complainers. So if you're a whiner and complainer, go somewhere else. But if you're not a quitter, come in here. Anyways, let's continue on. Should we talk about how we can set up these goals? I love what you just posted in the side chat here. How did you guys do in 2023? What is one major lesson you learned? Share with us, and maybe we'll have you on the podcast. So for everybody on here, that's pretty cool. I guess I would be very curious, Ingryd, how we were going to have a party, and I want to know, how do you set out your goals? Do you and Mark get together to do goals as a couple? Do you do personal goals and business goals? What does it look like when you're setting goals?
So this year will be the first year where Mark and I will be putting goals together. Historically, I've been the go-getter. So as Mark starts getting more and more incorporated into what we're doing, and exposing himself to other ways of learning and growing, right? I'm getting at the age now where some of my friends are starting to get divorced. Or close to it, or separated, or whatever. And something that I learned from a couple of folks that I respect, who are in like the entrepreneurial space, was that you need to grow yourself. Like, what's the best way for you to bring them along is to actually showcase how you've grown in producing results. So I have friends who like, oh yeah, my spouse, they're not growing with me. They're not doing stuff with me. They don't see a bigger future. They don't want to blah, blah, blah. And I cannot do that with my husband. I love him too much. And so for me, I've always been, he's on his journey and I'm on mine. There's a reason I fell in love with him. There's a reason I married him. There's a reason why he's a great father. Like, the entrepreneur is me. I'm the one who wanted to do that. I can't project myself onto my husband. So I can't expect him to grow with me or grow at the rate that I'm going. Here's what I do expect is that he supports me, and support can look different with different people, at least is positive, right? At first, to be frank with you, that support didn't really shine. But he was always very okay with me trying new things, right? When I got my real estate license, when we paid for this mentorship, like those were all things that he was okay with. And then it was up to me to prove that I can actually do this. So I actually feel that when certain partners or spouses, and this is me just judging, right? We project so much onto our partners, and that's not who they are. So I can't, I feel that some marriages, especially in this space, would be better served if they think about themselves a little bit more and a little bit less about what their spouse is doing or their partner is doing, because you're totally two different people. And, again, the best thing you can do is be successful yourself, and that'll have a much greater influence on what kind of support you get. And that's sort of the approach I've had with Mark. Mark, who has not historically been an entrepreneur, I've really been the one kind of exposing him to a lot of that stuff. When we were setting up our Sedona property, which is where we're at right now, actually, we're finishing it up hopefully this weekend, or what day are we on? Wednesday. By tomorrow. That he listened to that book, The Secrets of the Millionaire Mindset, which, by the way, is not that long of a listen. And so while we were building furniture, we got through the book. And so I think it was such a good book. He actually started re-listening to it on his own when he was traveling, because he thought there was such good stuff in there that he could start reflecting. And so for me, that's a big win. Like, wow, that he's thinking about things that way. But, I feel like I have enough patience, and I'm very privileged in the sort of position we're in, where we're not like desperate for money, right? I can also appreciate that there might be some relationships where that desperation then puts a type of stress on your relationships, where I don't have that. And so not having it is very helpful. Not having that stress is very helpful, because I feel like we can grow at our own pace. So anyways, but I also, yeah. But this year we did start talking about putting our vision board together. We were supposed to have a vision board night with all our friends, but there was lack of interest. So I was like, forget it. I'm not going to try to put something together that folks really aren't interested in. And then Mark was for that. So we're going to start with vision boarding first, and then we're going to put some numbers to it, right? Like, what is it going to take to travel? What's it going to take to maybe fix up our house? What's it going to take to maybe buy new vehicles, or whatever that might look like? And then once we have that budget number, that what that looks like, what does success look like from a dollars perspective, then we'll start breaking it down by quarter for the year to say, okay, where should we be at these different stages for 2024? So that's sort of the approach I'm taking. It's not as calculating maybe, but I think if you start with the vision board, it makes it a little bit easier, because your brain thinks in pictures. And so when you put things in a vision board, you're giving it a legitimate target that makes more sense to your brain. So
I agree with that. And I love that. I've done this a few times. So if we were in a Zoom right now, I'd throw a prompt up for everybody, and I would throw some music on. So this is your first bit of homework on today's episode. If you guys are watching the replay or you're live with us right now, so grab a pen and paper, write this down. Throw in your favorite music. Throw it on. Listen to it for 10 minutes. Write down everything that and I want you to pretend it's like Christmas or whatever your holiday is. You get whatever you want. Money is no object. It's not holding you back. Okay? Experiences you want to have, things that you want to feel. How much do you want to give back? Where do you want to give back? What do you want in life? Like, what material items do you want? Do you want a new car? Do you want to get a Rolls Royce one day? Do you want to have the bathroom of your dreams where the floors are heated? Do you want to get stem cells and injected into you? Like, all of those things. Spend 10 minutes on this. Give yourself 10 minutes. That's it. Get creative. I know Ingrid and Marlon and I did this last year right before the new year, and we got to look at each other's lists and add more to it. So feel free to interact with other people, have them do it with you, but listen to music for 10 minutes while you're doing that. There is no object. And then go back. Once you've written everything out, give yourself a page to write it out. You can add a few columns. Go back, and I want you to write down 1, 3, 5, or 10. How long will it take you to accomplish those goals? Will it take you 1 year, 3 years, 5, or 10? Put that on there, and then front load what's going to help you. So for me, what I did was, what am I going to accomplish this year is building my team out a little further so that I can have more free time to create more opportunities. And that's a really big priority. By doing that, I'll have more free time to go do the things that I want to as well. Adele is in Vegas until I think June. So I want to go see Adele before she leaves Vegas.
Are you going to take me?
Well, we'll see. We got to get everything else lined up before it goes. With me, I'm a lifestyle girly. I want to have the entire experience. I want to get the nice seats. I want to go fly. I want it to be an experience that I don't forget, which is really important to me. So for everybody on here, take 10 minutes, favorite song, favorite jam of music, put it on, write those things out. What do you want to feel? What do you want to have? What do you want to accomplish? And how much and how will you give back? And pretend it's Christmas. There is no object that can stop you from achieving these things. And then how long will it take you to achieve those, and put them on that vision board. So my vision board is right here. Keep it close. I keep referencing it so people can see it. It's going to be messed up on here, but I have all of my stuff. Like I'm going skydiving again. Here's a picture of me skydiving in Hawaii from 2016. You know, I had my first, like, I showed this to somebody. Oh, one of these is bent. I showed this to somebody and they're like, isn't this overwhelming? This is so much for you to do. And I'm like, no, like, I'm not going to do all of it in 1 year. I'm going to get it done over a period of time. And I'm going to keep toting around my crusty poster over. I probably should put it in a little, like, little frame or something, but you can keep adding to it. And it's just there so I can see it. Because again, one of my things I wrote down, why did I not accomplish all of my goals? Because I wasn't constantly reminding myself. I need to get better hooks to have that up where I can see it. I do well in the mornings when I have an hour where nobody can, I love, somebody was like, you're a morning person. I was not a morning person. I don't want to always wake up early in the morning, but I like to. I get to wake up in the morning because nobody's awake yet. Nobody's bothering me. The world is quiet. I have I don't feel like I have to do anything. There's no anxiety eating at me because nothing is happening. And I have that hour of, I could do a little meditation. I'm not a great person to meditate. I used to tell myself that, but meditating is whatever you make of it. I just want to make sure that I'm in my body, I'm present, and I'm keeping what's important to me up front. I know if I hit my KPIs, my key performance indicators, if I make the calls that are necessary, if I just don't quit, I'm going to beat somebody who's giving up. And that's all it comes back down to, guys. You cannot lose if you don't quit. And I love going back and looking at what I've accomplished and remembering that. So just for everybody on here, you can't lose if you don't quit. Keep those on there. And I'm just, for everybody, if you didn't take notes, I wrote down, I'm taking notes while Ingryd was talking. One of the things I liked was, what do you want? So putting that out so you can see it. How much will it cost you? Once you break it out, I have my other little vision board over on the wall. I put a Prius on there. Actually, let me go grab it because I've done 2023. I put my Prius on here. I did not yet. I got a Honda Accord Hybrid instead. But here's my little paper that I'd see. It's right over my bed now. I had, I'm going to go to Fiji. So I even put down how much it would stay. It's $18,000 to stay at this Fiji resort, including my first class flights. And I was going to take another person. 18 grand for me to go to this thing in Fiji. I even put down my little Tony, this Tony Robbins thing. David Goggins.
When is it?
It's in May.
So this is something that's weird with me. Like, if you tell me what you want, and it has to be some sort of people-pleasing thing that I have. If you tell me what you want and I really care for you, like, I will do whatever I can to influence it to get you to your goal. Does that make sense? Like,
that's a great balance. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, find somebody like that in your life. This is advice to our audience. Like, find somebody who genuinely wants to see you succeed. Like, I say this a lot to Stephen Hunt too, because Stephen Hunt is one of my partners. I was like, and I send him as much as I can, and I'll send he's like, I can't believe how much you do to, like, send me these leads or opportunities, because he's a property manager. And I was like, Stephen, the more you succeed, the more I succeed, because we're in business together. Same with you, Caroline. Like, the more you succeed, the more I'll succeed, because I care about you. And the more stable and the more happy you are in reaching your goals, like, that's who I want to keep around me, right? So now in my head, I'm like, okay, how are we going to make 18K so that we can both go to Fiji in May?
I want that, and I want to do this with the people that I enjoy hanging out with. And then your campfire just keeps getting hotter and hotter, and you add more cool people to it, and you're enjoying yourself. So yeah, I'll get all the details. I will put it out so we can have that. But I just put little things, like, I want to spend more time with my friends. I put down the discipline, doing the things I don't want to do so I can have the things that I want to. So I got the new car, and I got some houses. I got to experience Tony Robbins. I was not there in person, but I'm going to do this in May. So keep those things, keep seeing them, because our subconscious is keeping score. And they're those little things that help you, like, just 1% better. Okay. Instead of saying I have to, I get to. One of the things I really like to talk about, and I do this on the daily dials, the Zooms I host, I love reminding people that we get to do things. We know of a gentleman who was in sub 2. I'm not going to say his name, but he was driving his car to the gym, got hit by a drunk driver, pinned his leg, lost one of his legs, lost, like, use of one of his legs. No, he lost his leg. He's got an arm that's sort of working. Yeah, he lost his leg. And my age, I think, just had his, like, 4th child, wasn't drunk, wasn't his fault. But now for the rest of his life, he is not able, like sometimes he can't do stuff on his own. And he talks about how he still gets to do things. And like, I feel like I used to just have such a big victim mindset of like life was happening to me instead of for me. I actually just answered this question. It's out in my car. I answered this question of how has my spirituality changed over the last 10 years? Marlon got this book and it's about 101 questions you should ask before you get engaged to somebody. I was like, I'm going to go through this. So I was filling it out. And I was like, well, I'm not really spiritual. And that made me think even further because I was raised in a certain way, but I'm like, I didn't focus on self-help until the last 3 years. And when I've started focusing on self-help, I have more control over my life. I am in more control. Good things happen to me and I get to do stuff. And when you just change that little thing in your brain, I'm happier when I practice my gratitude in the morning. Like I'm just like, I love sending text messages to you and Mark. Marlon's 20 feet from me. I'll text him. We will hug each other in the middle of the hallway. So find little life hack ways you guys can and message me on Instagram. I'll get back to you guys. I have like I have actually a lot of text messages from Christmas that I need to reply to. But find those people that are going to amp you up and dance with you and have fun with you and goof off with you and that are doing well. And that makes hitting your goals a lot more fun. So, but I just
and you're legitimately rewiring your brain too when you're doing that. Like you're rewiring how your brain operates. And so that's great. It's legitimate science. So, but I want to read a couple of here. So we have Terry Taylor, who says they want 5 wholesale deals, buy their first home, and take their husband to Jamaica. That sounds like fun. And Terry, let us know what market you're in. So when you come here, part of your homework for the next coming year is every time you join us on this podcast, you talk about what markets you're in, where you're looking to wholesale so we can help you connect with other folks and get those goals accomplished. Especially with your purchase of your first home. I feel like those are all legitimate goals that we can help with. Let's see here. Jennifer says she wants to have 10 doors. Awesome. So you're a buyer. A buyer is very valued in the market. So if that's the case, every time you come to our podcast, I want you to talk about what market you're in, what you're looking to buy, what fits your buy box so that we can send you opportunities. Okay. I'm being very intentional in these instructions so you guys know how to operate with us in 2024. We want you to succeed. We want your goals to work out too. So we would love to have this podcast be a part of the catalyst for that. All right. And then Terry said, what was the name of the mindset book you all mentioned? It's called Secrets of a Millionaire
Mind.
Mindset. Is it Millionaire Mind?
Yeah, I think it's Secrets
of
a Millionaire Mind.
Yeah, by T. Harv Eker.
Here we go.
I literally listened to it. Yeah. I think I listened to it twice that weekend. I listened to it on my way here to Sedona, and then I listened to it again with my husband. Of the Millionaire Mind. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Millionaire Mind. So now you guys got it. Life hack. Like I listened to like podcast. You know what I just listened to this weekend? I don't know if you saw it. Templeton Walker and Devin Burr had a really good podcast episode that I listened to. And actually, I was going to implement what Templeton did. So I'm going to challenge everybody on here as well. Templeton writes himself a letter every month on the type of person he's going to be. And he reads it every day through that month. Like, I'm the guy who I think he said weighs 170 pounds and has 6-pack abs. And he's like, I keep missing that mark, but like, I'm always aiming for it. And he's like, I'm intentional with my children. Like, I don't scroll on my phone when I'm with them. So I really like that episode. I'll find it and I'll throw it for you guys. But if you guys don't know Templeton Walker and Devin Burr, we need to get Templeton on here at some point. But Devin Burr was on our podcast, 2 months ago, talking about infinite banking. We need to get him back on here. So good. I'll find it really quickly and I'll share it so everybody can enjoy it. But it was there it is. Let me find it.
All right. Well, she's finding that. Tell me who, if you're out there in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, Lahia Investing, hopefully I'm saying that right. They're in that market. So they're looking to wholesale. So if you're a buyer, connect with Lahia. Lahia, write down how people can connect with you so that they can tell you what they're looking for, and then you can go searching for them. And then buying that's good. That's good from a tax strategy perspective, that you want to keep a couple as well. And then we have Jay Cheetah saying, thank you both for doing this. What is the best way to get a hold of you guys for a deal review? I've never done a sub 2 deal, seeking the best way possible to take the next steps. For doing a deal review, well, there's a couple of things that we can do here. One is you can actually just email us at doihaveadeal@gmail.com, which is something we've shared, but I'll share again in the comments. But if you've never underwritten a deal and you're trying to figure out what data you need to collect so you know whether or not you have a deal, myself, Marlon, and Caroline did a YouTube video using a spreadsheet that I put together, which codified what Pace taught us around what information to collect so you know if you have a deal. So I'm going to go and grab the episode link. And this spreadsheet is still available for free. It's a calculator, although I've been told I should charge for it. I still have not reconciled with charging people for this spreadsheet, but maybe I will. Maybe I'll change that. So there you go. So that video is me, Marlon, and Caroline going over what information to collect so you can underwrite. So Jay, my recommendation is go check out that video. Go save that calculator, that free calculator that we have available. We actually tell you how to do it in the video. And then if you have an opportunity available where you think Caroline and I would be interested, email us at doihaveadeal@gmail.com. I hope that helps. And then we have Landon, who is an amazing person. He and I, we do meetups every week out here in Arizona on Thursdays, where we right now our focus has been direct to agent. So I asked him, I go, well, what's a big hairy goal you got in 2024? So he says, purchase a business creatively, retire my wife, and live in Bend, Oregon during the summer. Interesting. Okay.
I love Oregon.
Look how specific that last one is, right? It feels like his brain will know what to go after because it was so specific. I know, like, right now we've kind of been frou-frou. Like, hey, I want to own 25 doors. Like, a better way for us to say that is, I want to own 25 doors, 50% of them being multifamily in the state of Arizona, specifically Maricopa County. Like, boom, that's way more specific.
I would even jump in and say this is one thing I love. Make sure you add deadlines, because if you guys have goals and you don't have a deadline with that goal, they just become dreams. And it's one day I'll do that. Someday I'll do that. If you have a deadline on it, it puts a little more fire to it. So add deadlines to yours and then say when they will be done by, because this is coming from an expert procrastinator. You will push it off until you have to, until there's I have people coming over, let me clean the house really fast. Okay. Oh, I need to put my laundry away. So add those deadlines because you'll get stuff done much faster.
We did that.
See? There you go.
When you guys came over for Christmas, I was like, oh, fine, we're going to clean the bathroom. Look, Jay said he's going to come and check this out at the mastermind. That is amazing. Come through, Jay. Awesome.
Love that. All right, so I have a few people on Instagram Live. Jay Key Jones said, I'm in the Texas market. I'm looking for my first deal by January 2024. Pre-foreclosure and wholesale my first property on February 24. So I love that. I would say, make sure you're just doing the work. Connect with somebody who's doing it. If you guys are in sub 2, I have a billion videos on how to pull the data, how to contact them, how to call them, how to have those conversations. So make sure you're ripping off and duplicating, as Ingryd likes to say, and copy off people. And Ingryd, I found that video, so I'm going to share my screen really quickly so everybody can see it. From Devin Burr and Templeton Walker. It's right here. Unlocking an abundant life blueprint to a supreme work-life harmony. I'm going to share it with you guys in the side chat again, but really good one. Come over here and just let them know that you found them from our podcast, so we can get Devin to come back. Let him know that he's getting some love outside of here. But it actually, I'm assuming, Ingryd, you must have heard Templeton say it, because I know you knew Templeton more than I did. But he said, ripping off and duplicating. Devin said that he was one of the 5 people I got to hang out with Temp and see that he's just constantly trying to catch up. This is a terrible pause on his face. And how it really impacted him and seeing what it looks like to have that work and just connecting and delegating out. But I really appreciated where Templeton talked about how he is doing less work now and he's able to pass off the work to other people on his team so he can be more present with his wife and kids. Overall, great episode. So if you guys have time, check that one out. And then if you guys are looking for infinite banking, Ingrid, you signed up with Devin and you did infinite banking, yeah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did a cash value policy of like 60K. And then I was able to pull like 51,000 pretty much right away. So you do pay an interest back for lend because your 60K becomes collateral on your policy. And then that loan that they give you is at a smaller interest. So your job is to go and get deals with that money. So if it's only 4 or 5% with the loan, you should be charging 10, 15, 20%, getting that back. And then if you never pay it back, the insurance company will just deduct it from your death benefit. So it's, I think, a pretty incredible, powerful tool. It's not an investment strategy. It's a tool to do investments. And I really appreciate all the time Devin spent with us. So here we go.
Mm-hmm. Got a question over here?
One thing you mentioned real quick, Caroline, and I didn't realize that when I first started investing, I didn't want to create a company, like a team, like a, feel the pressure of all the mouths that I had to help feed. And I have to say that this year, my perspective has changed so much. And it's because of certain investors. I won't say who, but certain investors, when I recognized their inability to grow in that perspective has held them back. Like I was like, wow, I respect that investor a lot. I respect the success that they've had, but I also can recognize now that that's the thing that's holding them back. Would I be proud of myself if that was the reason I was holding back? And I was like, no, like if there's anybody who I feel is dedicated, trustworthy, accountable, is me. So why wouldn't I want other families to have somebody like me helping produce opportunities for their family to be fed and be taken care of? And so that's actually something that I don't know if it'll turn a corner in 24 for me, maybe closer to 25. Maybe there'll be several people who might work with me a little bit more in 24 because of some of the ideas that I have. But I think I am ready now to full on be like a company owner and have that pressure. Like I actually think that was something I had to get through my brain, and I couldn't recognize it until I was able to better juxtaposition certain investors in my life that I have a lot of I respect them all, by the way, because different strokes for different folks. And I would be lying to you if I'm not sitting here judging the situation, though, where I'm like, why has this person who's super popular, respected by many, like, why aren't they blowing up? Like, why aren't they bigger than they are? And then I start comparing, and then I'm like, oh, because they're so afraid of being hurt. They're so afraid of having partnerships that are going to let them down. And honestly, at the end of the day, that comes down from not being able to recognize a good partner either, or a bad one, that they can't move on. Yeah. So it's interesting. I'm like, wow, and these are guys that in my head, I was like, wow, they're so respected. They make a lot of what I thought was a lot of money. And now I'm like reconsidering if that's the case. But anyway, it's been kind of interesting. How about you?
I agree. That's one of the things that, I love. So I will name one person, like watching Pace let go of control. And he has so many different people. Like he's like, I don't know what's going on over here. This is somebody else's job. I just know that the numbers are being hit. One of the first things he told me when I first started working on his acquisition team, like, I don't care what you do as long as the work gets done. Oh, okay. So you could work 4 hours a day. As long as the work's done, I don't care. I was like, all right. Did I ever work 4 hours a day? No, I was working a lot, but I was learning a new job. So yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. And like the really cool thing is, with that, you have more opportunities that come from it, and you can delegate, and then you can really open up more doors for other people. We do need to wind down, but I want to answer this question I see from Lee right over here. Question: we have a property under contract with the seller, but I have had a hard time to get him out of the property as they can't find a place to go due to bad credit. What would you do? So I have not dealt with this, but I know Michael Frankie has actually set people up with loan officers to help them rebuild their credit. And he will help them, whatever proceeds they're getting from selling the property, help them put that into a place that will let them stay there for a year while they're rebuilding everything. Ingrid, have you done anything like this?
So a couple things. One is know several property managers and have good relationships with them. If you can somehow figure out within their deal to have a stronger security deposit so that they can be chosen for a rental, that you offer that up as proposition. So why do people not want bad credit tenants? Because we're afraid they're not going to take care of the property and not pay their bills. So if you can have a stronger security deposit as collateral for the fact that they have bad credit, and you've created these strong relationships with property managers, that's one way to mitigate that. Now, if you're doing deals in a state that isn't very landlord friendly, I don't know how much that's helpful anyways, because it's really hard to evict people, but that's one approach you can take for that. Another is depending on what their situation is, we've had a scenario, at least here in Arizona, I know, where actually she had good credit, but it was still a scenario where it's like, hey, our down payment for the property here covers the down payment for the property there, actually in Tennessee. Hey, Greg, I see you. No, I'm sorry, not Tennessee, it was Ohio. And so that was like a swap that you could do. So that's another. And then depending on their family structure, if it's a singular seller, you might want to push them towards shared housing, rooms for rent. They have a little bit more flexibility on credit requirements. So you might have more opportunities there. So hopefully all that helps.
Ooh. Good answers. Good answers. Let us know what happens with those. All right, Ingrid, we'll be back here next Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Everybody on here will be back next Wednesday at 4. If you got any value, though, please let us know in the side chat. It would be incredible. Give us a like. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Tell us what you'd love to see more of. We would love to bring you guys up here. We'd love to cover those topics. We'd like to bring those guests on if it's going to be helpful to you. If you're not already, it's directly below me. You can see we have a Facebook group called Explain It with Caroline and Ingrid, so you guys can find us in there. Make sure you answer all the security questions. I straight up deny y'all if you do not answer the security questions. So make sure you answer those. Ingrid, have fun in Sedona. Have the best time. I hope you get to take a trip out on a hike tonight and go see all the stars for me. I wish I was up there. And go give your kids and your husband a hug for me. I miss you guys.
There's still time. Come through. We have an air mattress. Come on down.
I think I'll make it up there before the sun sets. Ingrid, I'm gonna hand it over to you. Thank you.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I will say Caroline and I are trying to make an amazing 2024 of this podcast. So we do need to spend some time on breaking down how we're going to structure it. We are going to have guests coming on, but not as frequently as we did in 2023. Part of my goal is to also, Caroline just mentioned, have you guys actually come on and interact with us a bit more so that you guys are learning. Having that experiential experience with me and Caroline will help things stick to your brain. But thank you everybody for coming on. I do want to say in 2 weeks, we're supposed to have the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Pace Morby on our podcast, because we are, what are we doing, Caroline? What happens in 2 weeks?
We are celebrating our 1 year of having our podcast. So we've been consistent for a year, and we'd love to have you guys on here with us.
Yeah. Right. So please subscribe, share, hit that bell so you guys do not miss out on our 1-year anniversary podcast. I have a couple of tricks up my sleeve to see if maybe we could do some giveaways as a result of, but you have to be with us live and you have to join us. So be there or be square.
Woo! It's January 10th, correct?
Yep, January 10th.
What I thought. Pace Morby will be on here January 10th, guys. Jump in. We'll see you then. We'll be here again next week on Wednesday. Anyways, guys, have a great day. Enjoy your new year and write out what you want. What you write is what you invite. If you think a dull pencil is much better than a sharp mind, I promise you. If you've ever been like me where you walked into a room and you forgot why you're walking into that room, but if you'd written it down, you would have had it. So, guys, see ya. Have a great night. Bye, Ingrid. Love you, everybody.